Hello world, Dev here. This video that I bring my viewers today is by far the most requested video to date I have ever seen since I started making videos across my YouTube channel, in the comments, in my Discord server, and on my live streams on Twitch. Everywhere, my viewers have been asking me, please give us a comparison, help us to make the decision between the Asus TUF A15 gaming laptop and the HP Omen 15. This is not an easy comparison video for me to make. These two laptops are basically, among the top competitive laptops in the marketplace today. They both have the latest chip from AMD, the Ryzen 7-4800H processor, and there is just so much horsepower under the hood here. So definitely, if you are torn and you are not sure which one of these laptops to buy, you don't know which laptop you're going to want to buy and use and keep for the next, 3, 4, 5 years, then you have definitely come to the right place. Because just like one of the iconic computer programs from the past, Dev is here for the users. And to start out the comparison between the HP Omen 15 and the Asus TUF A15 gaming laptops, we're going to take a look at the build quality. And this is definitely not starting out easy for me because I was totally in love with both of these designs, at least aesthetically. So taking a look over here at the Asus TUF A15, I was really happy with this, because it was, for one, a metallic back here, so it's cool to the touch. I was super in love with it. It felt durable. I was really happy at this price point to not see a plastic build. Definitely appreciating that design choice there. And taking a look over at the HP Omen 15. Yes, we don't get a metallic build here, at least on the back of the screen, for example. But what I will say is that HP delivered a lot more where it really counted. So, where Asus went with pretty much reusing their chassis from previous years, just slightly updating it with design choices like a metallic back lid here on the back of the screen, HP took the time and the energy as well as the effort to invest in research and development for an entirely new thermal design here. So this chassis has just absolutely huge ventilation grills across the bottom and the back of the chassis here, as well as on the side. And, all I can say is it resulted in better performance. Basically, this is, an example of where we are getting more plastic with the HP Omen 15 build quality. We are getting advancements where it counts here. So benefiting the user in terms of actual gain. So this is something that I'm able to be okay with. And on a day-to-day basis, the plastic build quality of the HP Omen 15 does not bother me. And, definitely to address a little bit of a sidebar here, yes, I definitely am aware and willing to point out in this comparison, yes, the HP Omen 15 does have some screen flex, especially if you are grabbing it, one-handed towards the side where the gap is and putting a lot of pressure or holding the entire weight of the chassis in that one spot. I'm not going to go deep into this again. I have a whole dedicated video that I actually uploaded a few days ago in terms of what I really think about this flex and how the laptop will do over time. So if you're interested in that and you're on the fence about to purchase the HP Omen 15, I invite you definitely at the end of this video, take a look in the video description down below. I'll drop a link to that video I made, last week, comparing and showing you all the different use cases where the HP Omen 15 does flex and doesn't. Taking a look at the keyboards, what I can say is yes, they are very different keyboards. HP definitely went here with more of a design to give you a little bit more of a tactile feeling, a little bit more travel, whereas Asus, in my opinion, went much more for a linear feeling, giving you just a smooth key press all the way down to the bottom. So basically, you don't really feel that actuation at all. So, actually to me, the Asus, after spending a lot of time now typing on them both, the Asus TUF A15 is actually a little bit mushy, in terms of when I was doing a lot of typing, because, throughout my day, I do a ton of typing, guys. And basically, I much preferred the HP Omen 15 because it gave me a little bit more of a tactile feel, but it wasn't too loud like, your Cherry Blues, for example. So they were definitely going a little bit more towards the, like the brown switches that some people might be familiar with. And both trackpads, they are both Windows Precision trackpads. And of course, we do have buttons on the trackpad of the Asus TUF A15. And, I did use them. Whenever laptops have the clicky buttons, I always use them and I enjoy them. Having spent a lot of time on a MacBook trackpad, I'm definitely more at home and more comfortable on the HP Omen 15 trackpad because, while you do lose the two clicky buttons, the result is a larger trackpad. And because of that, you are getting more surface area, more area to use and interact with the device. So I prefer this. Okay, let's talk about the speakers. The HP Omen 15 gaming laptop comes with Bang & Olufsen branded speakers here, and they were, supposedly designed in collaboration with them, and I will definitely give it to them. These are very crisp and clean sounding speakers at any volume, the lows and the highs, everything, even at highest volume, I did not hear any distortion. So most of the time while I was listening to music on this laptop or gaming, I had the volume at maximum, which I could definitely say I enjoy. I appreciate it, because I have had laptops in the past where going past like 80% volume, for example, you start to get distortion, and the result is a negative user experience. However, the A15 definitely was able to get louder for me. I absolutely noticed a louder volume from the speakers in the Asus TUF A15 gaming laptop. So if it comes down to it, if the number one thing you care about is volume, the Asus is going to be your choice here. It's going to give you louder volume. However, there's something about the way the HP speakers are tuned. It definitely felt like a more refined experience there for my ears. I definitely felt a little bit more, gently caressed around my eardrums there, smoothly around the edges, much more, just something about it for me I just preferred. So even though that's kind of something intangible to say, just there you go for whatever that means to you guys. I prefer the speakers on the HP Omen 15, but the Asus A15 can get louder. Okay, and now let's talk about the screen quality. And while in the last comparison segment, Asus took the win, this is one segment the Asus TUF A15 doesn't stand a chance. I am by no means in any way, shape, or form saying that the Asus TUF A15, gives you a terrible or a garbage user experience when it comes to the screen. I've seen a lot of commenters, a lot of people saying, really this laptop just isn't worth considering at all because of the screen. But I'm going to say that's not true. It just depends on your use case. The HP Omen 15, right off the bat, I will tell you, the screen it's brighter, it can get more vivid, the colors, they're punchy, they're vibrant, it's more screen, it's more color accurate. Everything about using the screen on the HP Omen 15 just felt good. It definitely felt almost easier on my eyes. It was a more enjoyable experience. So if you're looking for that, better quality experience when it comes to the screen, which is a huge part of, actually the user interaction when it comes to a device, definitely you're going to lean towards the HP Omen 15 here. I was able to game on the Asus TUF A15 gaming laptop, and the screen never, disconnected me or caused any issue with my immersion into the experience. So I definitely still had an immersive experience here on both laptops. And to nitpick here and get into every feature, looking at the webcams and the internal microphones, I consider the HP Omen 15 webcam to be an upgrade over the Asus TUF A15, but what I will say is both are still not the best. You're definitely still going to want to, if you're streaming, for example, at least, long-term or professionally, you're definitely, in my opinion, going to want something higher end if you're serious about content creation. And there's definitely pros and cons to both laptops here, and when it comes to the internals department. Over on the Asus side, the star of the show for me was its 90-watt-hour battery. I was easily every single day seeing all day usage use cases pretty much executed without a problem. So if you're looking for an all-day laptop here where you can use it all day for productivity work, using mostly, developer tools, Google Chrome, stuff like that, the Asus TUF A15 will definitely do it for you. The 70-watt-hour battery is definitely no slouch over on the HP Omen 15. I was still managing to get close to 6-hour battery life use cases knocked out of the park, no problem, which is enough for me. But taking a look at the rest of the internal design, again, I definitely prefer some elements over on the HP Omen 15 side. We get those nice copper thermal dissipation pads here on both of our NVMe SSD drives here. But both laptops, when it comes down to it, and expandability, do both offer very much similar solutions here. We're getting an extra NVMe slot on both devices, so either one you can buy it and pretty much throw in an extra NVMe at any time, and they both also do have dual memory slots here, so you definitely can bring up the RAM to much higher capacities, if needed, than what you get in these default configurations we're seeing mostly with about 16 gigabytes of RAM. Now, to get into a bit of the nitty-gritty, what kind of actual performance difference would you see in, your numbers and your testing between these two gaming laptops? And to start out, we're taking a look at Cinebench R20, and I am seeing a score of 4,432 from my HP Omen 15, while the Asus TUF A15 only managed about 4,200 222. So in terms of multi-core performance, we are seeing about 5% more improvement over on the HP Omen 15 side. And getting into our Passmark performance test numbers here, taking a look at the CPU mark, we're seeing, pretty close numbers here. Looking over at our 2D and 3D graphics mark, yes, we are seeing stronger numbers over on the Asus TUF A15 side. Absolutely, that's expected because I did review the RTX 2060 variant, and with the HP Omen 15, I have the GTX 1660 Ti variant. So depending on which variant you pick up with the HP Omen 15 and what GPU configuration that has, these numbers very much could be different and, be in one or the other's favor either way. So definitely keep that in mind. And taking a look at the memory mark score, I did see faster memory performance on the Asus TUF A15, about a 12% performance difference here. And taking a look at these performance numbers from our disk performance, I am getting a whopping 24,000 here with the disk mark performance on the HP Omen 15, which is almost 70% faster than the hard drive that Asus gave me in my variant of the Asus TUF A15. This is definitely game changing. This is enough performance for me to definitely say, depending on use case, how much hard drive performance you might need, if you're doing some type of productivity workload or with, content creation or otherwise, definitely something to keep in mind here. And getting into Adobe Premiere export times, and this is where we can see the thermals of the HP Omen 15 definitely give it a big advantage over the Asus TUF A15, looking at those extended workloads. While my core clock speeds on the Asus TUF A15 were still quite good overall when I was doing my initial testing, I basically saw here that the HP Omen 15s were better. So here with the HP Omen 15, I was getting a 3-minute 49-second export time for a 9-minute 4K resolution video exported with H.265 compression, compared to 4 minutes and 10 seconds over on the Asus TUF A15. So in terms of export time, our HP Omen 15 managed to pull off a 10% performance delta over the Asus TUF A15. And finally, getting into the gaming numbers, what kind of frame rates you guys can expect while using both of these laptops. The HP Omen 15 managed 87 frames per second in Apex Legends on high settings at 1080p, while the Asus TUF A15 managed 100 frames per second at ultra level settings. With Fortnite, the Omen 15 managed 90 frames per second outdoors, while the Asus TUF A15 managed about 100 frames per second. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the Omen 15 was able to get about 78 frames per second with RTX disabled, of course, and the Asus TUF A15 managed 65 frames per second with RTX enabled. So out of the RTX 2060 on the Asus TUF A15, we're seeing very playable numbers with ray tracing enabled. So if that's important to you, definitely something to keep in mind. And that's a similar trend that we see as well with Call of Duty Warzone. I got 100 frames per second on the HP Omen 15, while on the Asus TUF A15, I got about the same, on high settings with ray tracing enabled. What are the main biggest differences to keep in mind when you're, considering whether I go with the HP Omen 15 or the Asus TUF A15? They're pretty much going to come down to screen quality, thermals, and battery life. Those are the three most distinguishing factors between these two devices to consider, when thinking about your use cases. While the screen experience on both of these devices is good, definitely enough, for the average person, gaming, doing some productivity work, definitely hands down the win here goes to the HP Omen 15. If battery life is a big one for you in your use case, the 90 watt hour config with the Asus TUF A15 is pretty much the way to go. But the HP Omen 15 is no slouch either. HP does deserve a pat on the back there for not condemning their users to an eternal purgatory of heck using a 48 watt hour battery that we see so many manufacturers default to. Manufacturers, we do not want to see 48 watt hour batteries ever again. Please stop giving them to us. Make this size we're seeing here on the HP Omen 15 at 70 watt hours be the new gold default standard that we expect as users purchasing $1,000 plus, gaming laptops. And for the last performance differentiator between the two models, the thermals. The thermals here, they are definitely a big one. So the HP Omen 15 maintains higher clock speeds. It gives higher performance numbers, shorter export times. Basically in every way, if what you care about is CPU performance and extended workloads, the HP Omen 15, hands down, that's the one that's going to be the ProtoDev recommended. If, value, and GPU performance is all you really care about, and you're okay with a little bit, lower thermal performance when it comes to CPU output, then the Asus TUF A15 might be okay for you to consider. And with the lower MSRP, I definitely will say for just raw GPU power, you are getting an RTX 2060 with the Asus TUF A15. I definitely give a lot of props to HP for putting in the time and the research and development to give us a new thermally designed chassis like this, and the result is better temperatures. So, if you live in a very hot climate, if you have had trouble in the past, if it's a big issue for you, just, being hot and running hot and having your laptop and your machine just overheating, and that's been a struggle for you, you're probably going to want to go with the HP Omen 15. But if you live in a very cool ambient environment, you have good airflow and, temperatures aren't that bad, the Asus TUF A15 could be a choice for you if you're looking for that increased GPU performance and you still want the extra cores with the Ryzen 7-4800H. For me personally, thermals and CPU output combined with screen quality were bigger use cases that I cared about over battery life, so that's why I settled down on the HP Omen 15 despite its higher MSRP. So that's basically what I'm going to end with on this video, and I did allude to it a little bit at the end of my HP Omen 15 full review. You get what you pay for. So the HP Omen 15 has a higher MSRP, so naturally the Asus TUF A15, it is technically a better value when you look at what you're getting in terms of the GPU performance output. But you can't expect the A15 to similarly match and outclass the HP Omen 15 in all use cases because it's cheaper for a reason. Asus is reusing an old chassis, kind of just updating it with aesthetics here. So the result is, in some cases, the HP gives you much better CPU performance. So those are my final thoughts, that you get what you pay for, and just depending on your use case, it's really up to you in the end to choose which of those three things is most important to you: screen quality, battery life, and thermals. All right, and that does it for another video. Please drop me a like if this video helped you out. Subscribe if you want to see more. Take a look in the video description down below for links to everything I mentioned in this video, that flex test with the HP Omen 15, as well as full reviews for both of these laptops. If you have more questions still, even after seeing this comparison video, I definitely invite you, take a look down below as well. Join my Discord server, follow me on Twitch. I stream multiple days per week, and I'm pretty much willing to answer anything, so it's a great place to just bounce questions off me, look for recommendations, pretty much anything, just hang out. And as always, thanks again for watching. Got Dev out.